On a cold morning in the autumn of 2012, I discovered my condition. My friends made fun of me, pitied me, and I knew it was a curse for life because there is no medical cure. I'm colorblind. But like most colorblind people, I'm not actually blind to color. And a more accurate term to describe what goes on in my head is color deficiency. It's hereditary, a mutation of the X chromosome, and affects the sensitivity of my green light-sensitive receptor cones in my retina. Now, what this means for me is that hues of reds and greens are sort of dulled together and therefore become hard to distinguish, which, as you can imagine, is a little bit gutting to have around Christmas time. Now, when I tell people about my deficiency, they're often initially very interested, but ultimately treat it as if it's a shame, as if seeing differently naturally equates to seeing wrongly. And I don't think this is true, so this evening, I'm going to present to you an alternate opinion, and hopefully give you a reason to question the negative stigma that you may attach to color deficiency. So how am I going to do this? Well, I want to pose a question. What would it actually mean to see color wrongly, as many people assert that I do? Well, in order for color to be definitively correct or incorrect, it would need to be empirically factual. And for this to be true, color would need to exist in the world as some sort of physical, verifiable referent to our claims about it. But color doesn't exist. When you see the color of an object, all you're really seeing is a mixture of colorless photons with particular wavelengths that your brain interprets as color. So if color itself is created in the mind, it is necessarily non-physical and also non-universal. Any statement about the color of anything really should be viewed as subjective just because it will depend on the perceiver. Now you might be thinking, Bill, I mean, color's not subjective. You know, we don't go around all day disputing the colors of stuff. I'm not buying what you're selling. And to you, I would say, it's true, the human retina is usually made up in the same way. And this biological symmetry generally results in similar color perception. But it is not always the case. Some of you might remember The Dress from last year that split opinion about whether it was white and gold or blue and black. And this actually was a great demonstration and reminder of this fact that color does consist in personal mental interpretation, and that even people with the same tools for visualizing light can actually see completely different colors in response to the same stimulus. Color is still subjective, even if for the most part it's consistent. So what does this mean for perception? Well, it means we can identify that any statement asserting that the color of something is true or correct does not in any way rely on objectivity. Instead, it relies on this argument that a color becomes true or correct once the majority of humans see it that way. But this actually doesn't say anything about the nature of the world and should be considered false and dogmatic. I want to conclude by saying that what this entails is that color-deficient perception does not equate to seeing wrongly. It means to have a unique perspective. And what's wrong with that? In a society, a world, a culture that encourages seeing and thinking differently, why do we treat color deficiency as a casual disability instead of valuing it? Well, yeah, I mean, I can't tell when a chicken breast is still pink. And if I'm not very deliberate, my outfits might clash a bit. But every morning, I get to wake up and see a whole world that only 8% of people ever get access to. And that is something I should treasure, not feel ashamed of. On a cold morning in the autumn of 2012, I discovered my condition. And I'm proud. Thank you.